Yep, hello. Another week in life vlog this week. So obviously doing these as I have for quite a while now, just doing them every other week. Just to quickly mention, last week went pretty well, 4-day week with the Monday being a bank holiday. Yeah, I was out all week, so 3 nights in the van. But I wouldn't say that the amount of jobs that has picked up a bit. I wouldn't say it's anywhere near busy, but I seem to get jobs a lot quicker last week and not much waiting around. Maybe I'm just getting the luck of a rubber green or something, I don't know. And I did average a profit, which is kind of like my wage after all costs, of just shy of £150 a day. So that's pretty good, really. But anyway, this week, well, this is the week commencing Monday 25th of April, which just happens to be my eldest brother's birthday. That's easy to remember. So yeah, just to go with fuel prices. So last week they actually went down a bit, but then this week they've gone up compared to last week, so they're pretty much on a par with what they were 2 weeks ago when I did the last vlog. So my Shell card, which I get for UK fuels, is the cheapest at 139.24 plus the VAT. So I say that's the cheapest. With the VAT, the price is 167.09. And my other card, which is normally the one I use the most, normally the cheapest, but it wasn't the cheapest last week, it's not the cheapest this week, is the BWOC or BWOC card, which is their own card, Control 4 Diesel C4D, which uses the Key Fuels network. That is 142.13, so you know it's getting on for 3 pence more expensive this week. So they've not been great of late, the last couple of weeks. BWOC. Yeah, so that's my fuel prices. Filming this first bit actually Tuesday morning. Is that a job? There's a sec. Let's see. Anyway, doesn't matter. Right, so yeah, filming this Tuesday morning because yesterday, by the time I got home, I got into the house and spent the night at home last night. It was like 7:45 and I needed to get in and start cooking some tea, so didn't film an update. So I started quite late yesterday because I had a dentist in the morning. Went for my usual run on a Monday morning, and get showered up and leave the house fresh and get a bit of exercise in before I leave. So I didn't start looking for jobs until 10:30. I probably got a job about 11ish. It was, this is the problem when I leave, you see, it's hard to remember. It was picking up in Tamworth, yeah, that was it. And 3 drops, 1 drop Northampton, 1 drop Milton Keynes, and 1 drop Cambridge, 1 pallet to each. And when the job came through, I quoted this job quite a lot actually, 158 quid. I think it was only about 130 miles loaded, but it included the miles getting there, all miles, and quoted at £1 a mile. So it came out £158. So it was good pence per mile, over £1 in terms of loaded miles, but it was, you know, 3 drops. And I got the job. Ship I've done jobs for in the past, but not a great deal. But I did also do my last job on Friday was for them as well. It's like that sometimes. You don't do a job for a shipper for ages, and then you go through a spate of doing work for a certain shipper, and then you might not do work for them again for months, and you move on to someone else. It's just weird how it works out, I find. Went and picked up, I'll say it was picking up the UPS massive sortation centre in Tamworth, and going back to Christmas 2020, so just over a year ago really, a year and 4 months or something. In the run up to that Christmas, I was there for about 4 weeks when I still had the old van, the old Renault Traffic, which was a new van, but my old van, before I had this one. So I kind of know the place reasonably well, but when I went in there, I just got messed around really. They said, oh yeah, go to between bay 22 and 27, so I did. Sat on bay 27 because I was the only one free for like 10 minutes. No one came out or whatever. So I went to inquire inside. and it's like, yeah, I don't work for UPS. Yeah, sorry, can't help you. You find in this place, and a lot of places like this, there's lots of contractors working there, and they're just employed to do a certain job, and they don't know nothing. And not that they're trying to not be helpful, it's just they can't really be. So I went to the office upstairs, and they said, oh yeah, you need to be inside a building. Told me where to go, which is where I did used to collect some parcels from, and where I used to get all my paperwork from when I did parcels from there. So I went and parked there, went to speak to somebody else, and he says, oh yeah, do you need somebody else? We don't do that. We're parcels, not pallets, and we can't drive a forklift. And then back up to the office, and then I says, oh, I've been down there now, but there's no one to load me. And saying the guy I need to speak to might have gone home. Just it went on like this. So it took me like 50 minutes to eventually get loaded and find the guy I needed. He was on site still. So that was a bit of a pain, but I thought I kind of quoted quite high in terms of pence per mile. If hopefully the 3 drops going to be reasonably quick, and kind of make my time back on that. And it was, yeah, all 3 drops were just turn up, you know, open the doors, unload it straight away, get going to the next one, sort of thing. So no hassles there. Well, apart from the last one, I went to the wrong building, but it was kind of industrial estate, and I had three units in this industrial estate, and I went to the wrong one, but they all had the same postcode. So yeah, not a massive delay there. It's got that tipped. So I was in Cambridge, sort of 4 o'clock, parked up, and then I was thinking, I did actually manage to save some miles on that job as well, without probably added about 5-10 minutes in total, but they all just needed delivering by the end of, you know, business hours. So there was no mad rush, but I probably saved 15 miles or something, which obviously helped boost the pence per mile over £1 a mile, all miles. And then I sat there, and then a job pinged up from Biggleswade, so I was quite far from it. It was like 40-minute drive from it, 30 or something miles. Picking up last thing yesterday, going to Oswestry, and I thought, well, that would suit me, even though Oswestry's not a great place, because I can pick it up today, drop in the morning. I'm going to be driving past my house down the M6. I can just, you know, stay home tonight. But it was pick up within half an hour, and I was like 45-50 minutes from it. So I quoted, but I put 50 minutes ETA, and he didn't call me straight away, but they did call me to give me the job. And I said, oh yeah, but I am 50 minutes away from it, I can't get there for then. He says, yeah, no bother, we've got one of our own drivers to go in and collect it, and then you just need to meet him and get the goods off him. So that's what I did. Went and met the guy, nice guy, one of their vans, had a bit of a chinwag with him, as you do with other couriers while we're trans-shipping the load. I think they call that when the load gets shipped sort of halfway, or, you know, on the way from collection to delivery. I think that's what they call trans-shipping, which occasionally you see on a job note, no trans-shipping. It depends what it is, because obviously if it's pallets and heavy pallets, you can't do it by hand. But this was plastic radiator covers going to a hospital in Oswestry. If you know Oswestry, there's a big orthopaedic hospital here, you know, specialise in bone surgery and stuff, and reconstructive surgery. People have had nasty accidents and stuff come here. I know a few people from North Wales, because it's close to North Wales, who have come to Oswestry to have, you know, kind of a mate of mine from an old cycling club had a bad accident and really messed up his elbow, and he came here for quite a lot of surgery, like different, you know, surgery, and then kept coming back to get it sort of improved all the time. He was in a right mess. So yeah, picked it up last night, or yesterday afternoon, shot home, spent the night at home, and just had to be at 9 o'clock this morning. It was for some ward that they're redoing. Apparently now, after COVID, they've gone through the wards and they're having to make them like much more easier to clean and sterilise, which is I think why they're fitting plastic radiator covers, because obviously plastic's easy to mop down, isn't it, and disinfect. Maybe they were wood before or something, I don't know. So that was that. So I count them 2 jobs as yesterday, so tipped by 9 or just after. So £313 for the day. I only actually did 309 miles for them till this morning, like just tipping them, so I'm on over £1 a mile. Good start to the week, but it's put me in Oswestry, which isn't the greatest place, but Oswestry's on the A5, sort of between Shrewsbury and Wrexham, so I can still get jobs from Shrewsbury and Wrexham, which are reasonable sized places. Jobs into North Wales, which, you know, if they come up, I'm going to have very little competition for them, probably get good money to make them worthwhile. But anyway, that's where I'm at so far. I need to check the feed, excuse me, and find another job. Right, yeah, struggling to get an onward job from here in Oswestry, so I sat by the A5 on the side road for quite some time, about 2.5 hours, and then I decided to do a bit of exploring. So this is the Iron Age Hill Fort in Oswestry, side of Oswestry. It's at the top now. So as you can see there, right at the top there. So that way is west towards Wales and the Berwyn mountain range. And here you got Oswestry itself, and then also the other side of that hill over there. So like I say, you've got mountains to the west. It's kind of like on this part of the world, Oswestry and stuff. It's like the separation of between the mountains in like North Wales and this area, which is the Cheshire Plain. So the hospital I deliver to is just over there, and that's, you can probably just about make it the A5 north south. Yeah, so nice day to go exploring, and the bluebells are out, which is absolutely beautiful, but could really do with getting a job now. Yeah, so it's just after 1 now, about 3.5 hours after I tipped that job. Pretty quiet to feed here. I just put my 30-mile radius of where I am, which is where I'm getting notifications for on the screen, on the screenshot. So, you know, it's just about covering Telford, covering Wrexham, up towards Chester and Deeside. So I'm going to leave it until 1:30 and then make a decision. Don't want to drive too far, so I either drive to Wrexham, so kind of closer to Wrexham for jobs that come up, and then closer to Chester and getting my radius further north, including more jobs in that area. That's not a brilliant area. Or I go to Shrewsbury, which is means I'll be getting more jobs from like full Telford and stuff, but not sure which way to go yet. But you never know, I might get a job from here. Let's just wait and see. Right, Friday night now. Yeah, so in the end, after my walk, I headed up towards Wrexham, but not quite as far as Wrexham. A place called Ruabon, where there's a new Shell garage sort of service area. Parked there, got some fuel because it's quiet and stuff. So yeah, put some air in the tyres and the van and stuff like that. Try and do something productive because the feed was so quiet. When the feed's like reasonably busy, you can't do them things because, you know, you could be watching it all the time. But when it's just one pinging up every like 5 or maybe 10 minutes, yeah, you can easily do that stuff. I did eventually get a job. I thought I was going to draw a blank today. Got to 3:30 by the time I got my job, so 6 hours since I tipped that job in the morning, which was kind of like yesterday's job. And it wasn't a great job, really. It was alright, I suppose. It was 52 miles loaded, picking up in Deeside, CH5, which was like 22 miles from or something. So it was like 75 miles all in, and then the second collection in Chester, CH1, but it was actually outside of Chester, even though it's CH1. And then taking them through to sort of near Bolton, south of Bolton, where I am now. And it was 2 like kind of parcel collections, but not for a parcel type company that I've done before. This one's a bit different. It's not really, some were parcels and some were letters. I think they do letters, this company. They're not your normal parcel company. So that was alright. I was on a hurry up this, but not all you can do is I just said to the guy, I'm 35 minutes away from the first collection. I can go straight through, and you know, can't make any guarantees I'm going to be anywhere at any certain time, really, especially that time of day. So got that off. So that kind of worked out £75 a mile. All miles on the job, but obviously done some dead miles to get up towards closer to Wrexham. So overall today, 75 quid. Obviously I'm not counting the tip this morning, that was yesterday's job. And I'll put, yeah, 90 pence a mile, so it's maybe just under. So a bit of a bad day really, but yesterday was a really good day, very good day. 313 I think I did. Done 2 jobs yesterday. That's just how it goes sometimes. Try not to get me down. It's a bit annoying really, sitting on for 6 hours, but at least this time of year it's quite nice, you know. So I went for a walk, it's really quite nice. Some place I'd always driven past that hill fort in Oswestry so many times. I kind of think I need to go and check it out one day, and then just randomly today get the chance. Couldn't really do that in winter, you know, if it's freezing and it was all muddy and wet and all that kind of stuff. So that's the good thing about doing it this time of year. If I sat around for 6 hours in the winter getting cold in the van, because you can't just let the engine run for 6 hours, can you, idle, to keep the heating on. I'd be pretty pissed off, to be honest, yeah, but this time of year it's not so bad. So just hoping now for a better day tomorrow. Right, about 4:30 now on a Wednesday. I'm in a queue. Only a queue for a bloody ferry. So yeah, I'm finally getting afloat while doing this courier work. Obviously I've been on ferries before, just in like normal life and stuff, but this will be the first time since being an owner, driver, courier, doing a job, going on the ferry. So that's pretty nifty. Yeah, so I woke up this morning. It took a while to get the first job, which was this one. It's like the only job of the day. So I started looking like 7:30, 8:15. I think it was like 10ish I got the job, maybe later, maybe in 10:30. The job pinged up. It had been on there for previously posted as well. Looked like they were struggling to sell it, and it was going from sort of that Blackburn area. I was in Bolton, to Cowes. East Cowes or whatever, I don't know how to pronounce it, C-A-W-E-S, on the Isle of Wight. So I thought maybe this is the chance to go on a ferry. So I quoted it £1 a mile including getting there, which was like 30 miles, and then I added £125 on for the ferry, which, so I quickly looked on the FreightLink app. If you're on the CX, or you're not, it's worth knowing that when you're a CX member you get a discount off bookings on the FreightLink. It's like a company that does, you know, ferry bookings and stuff. So I follow that link off of the web page of the CX when I'm logged into the desktop version, and then I basically searched for the cheapest ferry options, and it was like £62 something each way, but that was from Portsmouth. So I kind of cocked up a bit, because I'm actually going from Southampton, which is the route it was going to take me. I think I'm going to go on soon anyway, but anyway, I'll go through this later, but I'll film a bit when I'm on the ferry.
Passenger lounges. I say again, assembly points are on B deck at either end of the main passenger lounges. Assembly points are clearly marked by a green sign depicting a family group. Should it become necessary, the ship's crew will issue life jackets and evacuate the vessel down.
go, and we're on the island. Woohoo! Don't know why I'm so excited. There it is. Almost. Come on, you bugger. Right, it's about 10 o'clock now at night, obviously, and I'm on the Isle of Wight still, as was the plan. So I got over, got it tipped. Turns out what I picked up, it was just like three pallets, but like really lightweight. Like the heaviest one was 40 kilograms, and then from some precision engineering company, and I dropped them off down here to some aerospace company, which is literally right next to where you get off the roll-on roll-off ferry. So just after that lap that I filmed, basically it's about 0.3 of a mile to the entrance to this place. Straight in, got tipped, went and got something to eat, and then I've been for a nice walk down the sort of esplanade they call it, which is where I'm parked now. Because it's free parking between 6 and 8 in the morning, so I'm going to stay here, and then it's 2 hours free in the morning, so in reality I could sit here till 10 o'clock. So yeah, that's the plan. I checked the sort of job history, like no jobs have come off the Isle of Wight today, which kind of makes you think tomorrow, you know, I might just be going back to the island myself, empty, in the morning. And if I do that, it's obviously not great from a business point of view, but it's just been a good experience kind of thing. It's something I wanted to do, come over here. But you never know, I might get a job, and the way I think it might work over here is shippers will know it's pointless just posting a job in the Isle of Wight. They might just, it's like totally different to the rest of the UK really. Maybe the Isle of Man's the same, because obviously you can't just get on and off easily, and getting on and off takes a while, and there's a cost involved. So I think shippers might actually just look to see who's on the island, if they get any jobs that come up, and ring around. And like the shippers, a bit more of a driver's market. When a job comes up, there's only me on the island, and there's one other van that's showing as, well, one in total, and he's marked as available in an extra long wheelbase. Up at Newport, which is like just up the river from here. Yeah, the island isn't that big. I think it's about, to get from here to the very southern tip, it's about 15 miles, and I think it's maybe about 20 miles east to west across the island, looking at the map. So to be a bit proactive, what I've done is I've put a post in on some Facebook groups, which I don't normally do, just saying, you know, van available and stuff. I don't really see that they're going to be very productive. I've only ever done it once before when I got to Scotland, and it actually paid off. So, and with this being a different kind of area, it's not just a general sort of area on the mainland, you know, might get somewhere more with that. And I've also gone through the directory on the CX, so you can't do it in the app. It's another thing, you have to go through the website. So I logged into the desktop version on the phone using Google Chrome. You can go on to directory, and then I've just searched within 20-mile radius of where I am, cows, and then I've gone through the companies, so people that are listed, or users that are listed as limited companies, and then I've gone through and looked at their feedback. It shows like a table, and any ones that are, you know, post, I've got lots of payment feedback, which means obviously, you know, a shipper do sell a lot of jobs in this area. I made a note of their email address, and then I've sent an email to each one of them. So I did a bulk email, just do the email once. I didn't know how to send an email to like multiple recipients without them knowing who else got the email. So I just did a quick bit of research on my phone. Apparently it's you've got the two thing in your email who you send it to, and then you've got CC, which is carbon copy, and if you carbon copy someone, they can see who it was sent to, and who it was sent to can also see the carbon copies. But there's also BCC, which apparently is blind carbon copy. So if you put all the email addresses in there, I've sent it to about half a dozen different shippers. They will only see it's gone to them. They won't see who else I've sent it to. So yeah, I thought it'd be best to do that. I thought I'll leave it till the evening, because now hopefully when they go in the morning, fire up their computers and stuff, most at the top of their list, or right near the top, hopefully if it hasn't gone to their junk mail folder, will be my email saying, you know, and I've just put in the title, Isle of Wight, long wheelbase van available Monday the 28th morning, and then just a bit more on that in the email, and we'll see what comes of that. So hopefully I get a job off the island, paid. That'll be nice, and if it's going like north, that'll be really good. But anything back to the mainland, really. Ideally not going to London, but I might just have to. And if not, I'm just going to go get the ferry back, but not this one. I'm going to go to one bit further down the coast towards Hyde. I forget what it's called now. It goes over to Portsmouth, and that's a bit cheaper. So if I'm paying myself, I'm going to go over there. And it's also with a different ferry company and take me into Portsmouth. So it'll be, you know, different. From a sightseeing tourist point of view, be a bit different, you know, but rather than going back the way I came. So yeah, I did kind of cock up a bit on the ferry. I wanted to include a ferry both ways, just the cost of the ferry. So I went in at 125 added on top. So I quoted £408 for this job, so it's probably the highest I've ever put for a single job. 129 quid of that was ferry costs, and the rest was £1 a mile, including getting there miles, which was about 30 miles as well, because I wasn't that close to the pickup. So I got good money on the job, but I kind of cocked up the ferry, because the route CX had calculated was to from Southampton, which was closer than going over to Portsmouth and over. So if I did take the cheaper ferry from Portsmouth, I had to drive more miles to get to Portsmouth, and then about 5.5 miles from the other ferry that comes from Portsmouth to here. So that kind of like negates the saving a bit, and it was just being more complex, more chance of it going wrong kind of thing. Yeah, so I just come over that way. I'm just going to take the hit, hopefully get a job tomorrow, pay me to go back. But in terms of the ferry cost, the quote 125, because I'm on a flat rate scheme, it kind of gets complicated. It's worth an extra 8% on top of that, because I'm on the VAT flat rate scheme. But then I can also put that cost down as a taxable expense, so I can't claim the VAT back. I can just claim £89, not the 107, which is what it is including VAT. And it just gets complicated to work out how much does that ferry crossing actually cost me once I've taken into the extra money I get from the flat rate scheme VAT, and then putting it down as a taxable expense and all that kind of stuff. But I'm not going to think about it too much. I'm just going to crack on tomorrow, hopefully get a job off the island. But if not, I'm not regretting it anyway, because it's been a decent experience. Not been on a ferry in a while, first time in a van, so that's that box ticked kind of thing. Which lane, mate?
Straight down, mate, yeah.
Right at the front.
clear she was specifically talking about a small number of male partners. Earlier, the Defence Secretary Ben Wallace said that Westminster's combination of long hours, bars and people sometimes under pressure could create a toxic mix. The Chief Whip said yesterday...
And back on the mainland. Right, yes, so back on the mainland now. Left the Isle of Wight behind. So you're probably wondering, did I get a load off the island? No. Thought I did have at one point. So nothing came in them emails I sent. And then sort of like maybe 10 o'clock-ish or quarter to 10 something, a job pinged up from Ryde, a small van job going to central London, like within congestion charge, so like one of the funny postcode ones. And I went for it, and it was only me on the island then, and that same guy who was in Newtown, I think, in Newport, just up the way up the river, where it comes out in where I was, Cows. And I thought there's a really good chance I'm going to get that, because there's not much options. So I priced it at £1 a mile, sort of picking up, and then all on the miles jobs. But I think the way it calculates the distance in that app, I think it includes the distance of you're actually on the boat. So that's why on the way the job to Cows I actually got better pence per mile than I thought I was going to, because of that, I think. So anyway, I cut it at £1 a mile, all miles, sort of getting there and getting to the pickup and then getting to London. So it would have been slightly over £1 a mile thing. And I included 15 quid congestion and 75 quid for the ferry trip over to Portsmouth, which is the price including VAT, which came out at like 185. And the shipper rang me pretty sharpish, well, not pretty sharpish, after a few minutes. And it just said they're ringing to make sure I was still available before they contacted the customer. And I thought, oh, bugger, it's possibly one of his ghost jobs. Didn't hear back from after half an hour. And kind of like, I need to know now, because if the job's not going to happen, I need to go anyway. I need to get a ferry booked. So I rang them up after half hour. They says, oh yeah, customers doesn't go back to us. We'll let you know. I was just, checking the feed to see if it's still there, and then eventually after maybe another quarter of an hour it just disappeared off the feed. So probably the job just didn't happen. The customer came back to him and says, no, we can't pay that, or whatever, or it's not that urgent, or not bothering now, or maybe they got a better offer and gave it to them, I don't know. So I didn't get the job. Just a bit miffed with a shipper. When a shipper phones you up and basically says that, like, just checking you're available, and needs to, speak to the customer and that. And they've actually rang you and said that, and they said they'll get back to me. And they don't. It's kind of, I think that's a bit off. I think that's just bad manners, really. But as drivers are 10 a penny, aren't we? So maybe not surprising. I've done work for this shipper in the past, a few jobs, and I've had to chase them for payment once because they were late. Not like they did pay, not too much chasing, but not enough for me not to do any work for them again, kind of thing. And I've done another job for them where supposedly I was supposed to have it help. It was delivering like a full kitchen, flat pack kitchen stuff to a house, and it's supposed to be helped on site, and it wasn't. So I did it all with the guy, the resident and stuff. You're not my favourite shipper, this one, but anyway, it's another mark against them, not that they'll care. So yeah, I just booked had to book ferry, just take the hit. I wanted to book the 1 o'clock ferry. I tried, which means I would have had to be there by 12, 60 minutes before. I tried booking it like 11:15 because there's only a quarter of an hour drive from where this other ferry goes to Portsmouth, which is on the way to Ryde, but not quite as far as Ryde. And it wouldn't let me book that one for some reason, because it said it was too close to it. So I think Freightlink must need a bit of time to actually, they get a request off me when I pay and stuff, and then they've got to book it. So I'm guessing they've got a bit of admin to do there. So I think it wasn't enough time for them. So I booked myself on a next one, which was the 1:40. It's only a 45-minute trip, this one, not the hour from Southampton. This is a different ferry company, White Link, as opposed to Red Funnel from Southampton to Cowes. Yeah, so I had to book myself on a 1:40, so I thought I'm not going to get off until about 2:30 then. I thought it's getting a bit late then, really, innit? But as it happens, I turned up at the port. It was really quiet, and I said to the guy, "Is there any chance I could actually get on the 1?" He goes, "We'll probably get you on the 12:20." So I did get on the 12:20, and then the docked at 1 in Portsmouth. Went and parked up in Morrison's, just at the bottom of the M275, I think it is, motorway. And then basically I've just been bidding on jobs today and got nothing. So complete blank today, and the ferry cost. So not great, but good experience anyway. Yes, I'll say a little bit at the end what I learned about going to the Isle of Man in the summary at the end. I would go back there again, but wouldn't do it quite like this. So I didn't get anything, and then I've got a job for tomorrow morning, thankfully. So probably got this job at about 6 o'clock. Job pinged up from Romsey, which is just north of Southampton, about 25 miles from where I was. Or a bit more than that, really. Probably about 30 miles. Anyway, I quoted it at 125 for 127 loaded miles, which is probably just over 80 pence a mile, including the getting there miles from where I was, which is obviously lower than I normally go and stuff and want to do. But tomorrow's Friday and I got to go back to the Midlands, so this job's going to get me to the NEC. Just picking up some exhibition materials tomorrow. Doesn't sound like much, just 16 cartons or something of exhibition material, but 160 kilograms. I'm not sure quite why it's on a long wheelbase, unless they're really big, these cartons. It's a long wheelbase job. So that's the job for tomorrow. They sent this through without phoning, which is obviously a bit naughty of them, but I was just glad to get a confirmation email and get a job. And it was actually put on a backload. Pick up any time before 1 o'clock, deliver by 5:30. So I just quoted it like a normal job. I'd quoted this the same job if it said hot shot, but I said before, all jobs on a CX are backload rate because you're subcontracting. And I put on a thing because it would be collecting the first thing and dedicating direct in the notes on my quote. So yeah, just happy to get it. So I did think, do I ring them and say what time are they open? But I checked online and it says this place I'm picking up from is open 24 hours. So I'm just going to get up at 7, go there for 8, and hopefully get up and tipped in the NEC by 11 at the latest. That'll be ideal. And then try and get a couple of local jobs around Birmingham and then go home. That'll be a good way to finish the week. Possible to do that, I think. If I do some local work around Birmingham, if I get a couple, I'll bump the overall pence per mile up as well for the day. So yeah, that is Thursday. One other thing, what I normally do when I'm slow, done some retail therapy. I've been thinking about this before, when I end up by the coast sometimes, like last summer, because we're getting towards late spring, summer now. Tipped in some nice places and go for a walk, but quite often there's people fishing and stuff. Used to do a bit of fishing, quite a lot of fishing as a kid with my old man. Never really did much spinning and feathering for mackerel and stuff, but I happened to be parked in a decathlon later on today after I had to leave Morrison's because the parking had run out at 2 hours free. So I nipped in, bought myself a telescopic fishing rod and a little fixed spool reel. It came with some tackle. I bought a few extra bits for doing a bit of lure fishing and feathers fishing. So I thought I might use it tonight, but the tide's out, and where I was is kind of quite inland sort of river tidal estuary ways. So the tide's like way out, and it's just mud. So I'm not going to do it on me. So I'll get to use that another time, and I'll try and film that when I do. Right, Friday afternoon now, just a quick summary about today. This one's getting quite long. So did that job this morning, got there about 8:10, and so I didn't know exactly how early I could pick up, and sadly it said goods in, open from 9 o'clock, goods in, goods out. So I had to wait till 9, but it was a quick load, so I was out with there 9:10, not the end of the world. Yeah, and I took it to the NEC, but it wasn't actually to like one of the halls. It was to a company in the NEC, and there are some small units there. And looking at it, tends to be like obviously exhibition companies, equipment hire companies, and also some like transport companies. You know, like big multinational transport companies, and that's who I delivered this to. And we're looking at the labels. It wasn't being used in the NEC. This stuff, it was going to France, Marseille or something eventually. So that was that job, and I actually parked up, didn't leave the NEC and then find somewhere to park, because it's, you know, there's no parking around the NEC. It's quite hard to park, or you have to drive quite a while to park. So I just parked in like outside an empty unit and look for my next job. Sometimes it's best to do that. It's just to stay, if you're within like a restricted security area, you don't necessarily have to rush off. Just stay there. If you've got somewhere good to sit, perch and start quoting and stuff, checking the feed. Feed is very busy, it's good to see, but it is Friday before bank holiday. Monday's bank holiday. Early May bank holiday, I think they call it. I got a job pretty well, maybe half an hour. I had my lunch, just bidding on a few jobs, wanted to stay local. Like I said, a couple of jobs on Birmingham would have been ideal. And then a job pinged up with a shipper I'd just done the job for, the morning job from Southampton area. Picking up in Tamworth, going to sort of like just east of Birmingham. I quoted 50 quid, 20 miles, and I was 15 miles from it, so 35 miles in, 50 quid, 20 miles loaded, long wheelbase, got it. Turns out it was picking up from some RDC sort of type place, picking up car parts, actually Tesla car parts, and I took them to some really swanky looking body shop, car repair, accident repair centre, let's say east of Birmingham. So that was that job, and then I parked up just outside of there. Getting in and out of there was a nightmare, because it was traffic lights, roadworks, four-way control, and one of the sets of traffic lights was right outside this place, but I got out there eventually and parked up. And there was a job on there, a 0 mile job. It was one of these you get these sometimes, assist with moving furniture or just do something on site. I don't normally do these, but I did one last week when I didn't obviously vlog, which was to help with furniture removal on unloaded of a large table. By the time I got there, there was 2 guys anyway in a truck, and he says, "Oh, we've done it, mate. Managed to do it, just the 2 of us." So he signed for it to say I'd helped, because he says, "Yeah, mate, I'll just sign for it anyway." I think I got 50 quid for that as well. But this one was the job was move 25 boxes of paper from the ground floor to the second floor, so up to 2 floors. I was 4 miles from it, but it was taking me away from home like 4 miles ish. So I say it added about 10 miles onto my day. So obviously looking to get home after that job for 40 quid. I thought, yeah, I'll do that. Don't mind a bit of graft. I thought if there's a lift, not too bad either. I can, use my sack truck. Sadly, there was no lift, so I had to carry them 2 boxes at a time. Turns out there's only 20, not 25, so 10 trips up. Really narrow set of stairs. It's quite an old building, tall ceilings, so it's probably more like to get from one floor to the next. It was like going up 2 sets of stairs. It was like going up 4 separate sets of stairs, but didn't mind a bit of graft. Very few miles in a van, boost the pence per mile for the week up, and especially for the day. Yeah, so that was pretty simple really, and then drove home. Got home, so that's got my 2 jobs local in. For 3 jobs, 215. It's over £1 a mile today for the 3 jobs, including the miles I did yesterday to get to the pick ready for this morning. So that Friday worked out pretty well, which is a good way to finish the week. a bit of a positive. So I just got to do the weekly summary, which is the numbers bit, over the weekend, and then I'll also mention a bit about my thoughts on going to the Isle of Wight and would I do it again. And well, I would, but what would I do differently? Right, summary time. Sunday afternoon now, so I'm going to quickly go through the financials. Probably not as much detail as I normally do, just because it's a bit more complicated this week, and a bit less clear. And then I'm just going to finish off saying what I think about the Isle of Man, going the Isle of Man, trips to there. So full 5 days on the run this week, which is quite a rarity of late, with all the bank holidays and stuff, and next week is a bank holiday week as well. So that means 4 nights obviously, but I spent one night, the first night Monday, at home, so 3 nights in the van. So Monday, including the job which I finished off on a Tuesday morning, is 158 plus 155, 2 jobs for 313, so pretty good day. Tuesday was a day I really struggled to get a job on from Oswestry, 75 quid, so that's obviously a poor day. Wednesday, 1 job, £408, which is the Isle of Wight job. That includes the ferry cost to put in a job, which I'll come onto. That's not all like your normal kind of job money. Thursday was a blank, 0. Obviously spent half the day sat in the Isle of Wight hoping to get a job and trying to get a job. Didn't work out. Got myself back to the mainland for like lunchtime, 1 o'clock-ish, and still didn't get anything anyway, so that was a blank. Friday was a pretty good way to finish the week, getting back from the south coast, pretty close to home on good pence per mile. 3 jobs, 125, 50 and 40, 215. So my total takings for the week pre-VAT, £1,011. I did 898 miles. Ferries both ways, because obviously I didn't get a ferry off. Cost me £184, including the VAT, to go on and off the island. So on via Southampton to Cowes, East Cowes, sorry, and then off, I think it's Fishbourne to Portsmouth, which is slightly cheaper and shorter journey. So overall, after all my costs, and I've worked it out, my pre-tax earnings, my profit is £510 for the 5 days, which is, a shade over £100 a day, which is like low. Disappointing. So disappointing in terms of earnings for the week, but in the other side of it, obviously the most thing is about earning a living and a decent living, but it was quite good to go. Obviously didn't work out well, but check out the Neolithic fort, not Neolithic, but really old fort. Something I kind of wanted to do for a while. And then the first trip on a ferry to the Isle of Wight. Just good to do that, and obviously learned quite a bit from doing it. Just a good experience as well. Bit of an adventure, which I quite like. So that is kind of like the things of the week. So what I learned about the Isle of Man, not the Isle of Man, sorry, the Isle of Wight. Isle of Man's a lot further ferry journey and a lot more pricey from what I've seen. Ferry prices. If you go into the Isle of Wight, I would go again, but I'd do it differently. That's I'd price it differently. That's an ice cream van if you can hear it. So I did think, I thought I included a price both ways, but not including the VAT. But I should have included the VAT in pricing it both ways, and I priced it going from Portsmouth to Fishbourne and back Fishbourne to Portsmouth, which is cheaper. Turned out in the end I kind of needed to go from Southampton because it's going to be quicker, more direct, but it was more expensive, so that didn't work out very well. Worth mentioning, the food on the ferry on the way Fishbourne to Portsmouth, getting ferry from Portsmouth to and from, it's just basic cafe on there and stuff. But the one from Portsmouth, because it's slightly longer, it's an hour crossing, they do hot food, and they gave me, I think because I booked via Freightlink, and obviously a freight sort of passenger or freight rate, they gave me a voucher which was 50% off food and beverages in the cafe where they do hot food, which works out all right. I mean, it's, you know, extortionately priced food because it's on a ferry, but because you're getting 50% off, it's actually reasonably reasonable. So if I did it again, I might try and use that. This time was more, I just sat outside and watched, you know, where we were going more, and I was more interested in where we were going and getting some food. Got some food when we got to the other side and got tipped. Yeah, so that's kind of like the ferries. So yeah, I'd say definitely price it both ways and including the VAT. I was watching the feed when I was there on the morning, the Thursday morning, trying to get a job off the CX, but I did, obviously I mentioned I've sent emails. Nothing came of any of my emails. And I also phoned 3 of the main transport companies on the island, only one of which was on the CX. And one of them did say to me, oh yeah, trying to get back, you know, loads off the island, they're like rocking horse shit. Which kind of makes sense really, because it's going to be a place like that, it's going to really be a net importer, isn't it? Because if a company's setting up, you know, a manufacturing facility or whatever, they tend not to, you know, the transport links, it's going to be a massive like headache for them. You know, any company sells goods and goods that need shipping and stuff needs to come in, it's just going to add cost. But there are some industries on the island. Obviously there's this aerospace company in Cowes, East Cowes, got 2 sites there. There's a massive place that does wind turbines, so there's obviously parts could go there. You're not really very unlikely to pick stuff up from there. You still could, you know, it could be equipment for the factory and stuff that needs sending away urgently or something. There will be jobs that come up. And there's a few other bits and bobs. I looked on Google Maps, you know, for industrial estates companies, stuff like that. But yeah, you can see his points like rocking horse shit. So basically go to Ireland, price both ways, price including VAT, and then maybe some extra for your time as well. But I think the time thing kind of, if it was picking up and then you were making a crossing during the normal working hours, like between 8 and 5, I think you really need to, you know, include something for your time. But say this job where I got the ferry at 5 or whatever, kind of into the quiet period then, so maybe add a little, or maybe just do it for nothing kind of thing. This job I picked up from the northwest, sort of Burnley, I think it was, Burnley, Blackburn area. It's a good job because it's a long job. It's like a one job, good earnings job for the day. And I kind of get in there in the evening anyway, so it would just be something quite interesting to do in the evening. So I'd do it again and maybe just include ferry both ways, which would have been 180 plus the VAT, call it 220. Yeah, but then maybe I might not have got the job, you know, but that's the kind of, it has to be worth while you're doing it. I will say the shipper said to me, I quote for a job, he rang me up, says he's still okay to do it, and I says, yeah, still available. And he goes, great, I'll send it over. And he did say to me, oh, you know, if anything happens with a ferry cost and it's more or something, just let me know. And just kind of a gist of the conversation I got was I'd quoted low for this job. But I didn't bother going back to him, I just took it on the chin or whatever. Yeah, so that's the Isle of Wight. I'd definitely go there again just for the adventure, and it's a nice place to go, like going on a ferry and stuff like that. But yeah, I need to sort of price it a bit better, really. And very little chance. Basically say I wouldn't bother waiting for jobs. I'd just price both ways, go over there, tip it, and then come straight back to the mainland. And then when you do come back to the mainland, that part of the south coast isn't great, I don't think. I always do better when I'm further east, sort of towards Brighton on that south coast. Personally, I always have done. So yeah, again, I wouldn't go to the Isle of Man if it was a job picking up in, say, West London, unless, you know, you really put in your money for your time and it worked out well. But longer jobs, like from the north, like I did, yeah, I'd do them. So that was it. Quite a exciting, good week, to be honest. Well, quite an interesting week, but not a great week in terms of earning. 4-day week next week. I won't be vlogging because it's my week off. A week on, week off still. So yeah, any tips, comments on anything in this video, especially going on a ferry, Isle of Wight, Isle of Man, stuff like that, please put them below, and cheers for watching.